Welcome back to Twin Destiny. This one's episode 6. We've done 6 of these, Paddy. They've been spaced apart liberally.
Space, that's good, because Destiny's in space. It's good.
That's good. Well played.
Thanks.
Right, so since last time, the Taken King crept a little bit closer. We covered the build-up in the last episode, at which point Bungie had started the first of 3 weekly Twitch streams showcasing new features. At this point, things were flying a bit under the radar, I'd say. Destiny peeps love Destiny. This was more Destiny, and the focus had been mainly on the price point, but also the UK version of that price point. On release, again, mainly Destiny people excited for more Destiny. Not really that many folks saying they were going to return. And then the reviews hit and things changed. The promise of more story and characters had actually happened this time. There was loads to do, the missions were enthralling, the Dreadnought was supposed to be amazing. Suddenly there was this huge spike in interest, and that seemed to catch more than a few folks off guard. People were picking up Destiny purely from those reviews. People returning to it, word of mouth spread and went uber viral. Day one, the highest sales of DLC content ever on PSN. More people playing the game than the first day of vanilla Desters. With regards to returning folks, of those I know personally on Twitter who've mentioned returning to the game, I've not heard one person who hasn't loved the Taken King. Obviously there's much to be said for how the game continues to evolve from here, and if people drop off from lack of interest, but we have guests! We have many guests, bountiful guests of different fruits and likes and furs. Ellie Joy from agirlandhergames.com.
Hello.
Ellie O. Hello. How did you come to? Hello. How are you?
I'm good.
This is very formal,
yeah,
isn't it?
It feels very, very formal.
Hello, Ellie Joy.
Hello.
So how did you come to Destiny? What would you?
Well, it's kind of your fault, really. I started playing it because you told me to. But I started playing last January.
Welcome to my fucking life.
So it's almost like, hello, my name is... Do you play Destiny? Play Destiny now!
Pretty much.
Play now!
Yeah, I've been playing since January because you made me, and then I fell in love with it, and then I bought all the DLC in one go, and I've not looked back. So yeah. Because
in that run-up to the Taken King coming out, obviously I started a new character to go with your character, but I was saying like, oh, this stuff in this DLC that you can't do. You don't fancy picking it up. You don't fancy picking it up, do you? This was before the Taken King sort of really showed its wares, I guess. But was the previous DLC price a barrier, or were you thinking like you were going to go all in when the Taken King arrived?
It was definitely a serious barrier. I was not willing to pay that much money for that little content. And I was happy with what I had. Like, I was just playing it all the time, doing the same strikes and stuff. And it was only really like recently that I got a little bit bored with it, but then the Taken King hit, and I've still got so much to do on there. So yeah.
I mean, that was the point where I'm sure a little bit of that you were still in Nottingham, and part of us jumping on Destiny was
it was catch
playing
up,
catch up and sort of saying hello again. Yeah.
Shooting some people and just having a chat.
I mean, I mentioned before on the 84 Play podcast that they said that they know of business meetings that have happened over Destiny, where companies and individuals have spoken of working together, and one of them's gone, oh, have you got Destiny? and they've kind of jammed it out while shooting people. And I think that chattier side of it is definitely a big aspect.
Yeah, it's a good laugh.
So then let's bring in the first of our Gav double acts, Mr. Gavin Weir.
Hello.
Hello. One half of You Died blog, which is ridiculously magnificent.
It's too kind.
So what about your own sort of Desta story?
Yeah, I pretty much brought it day one. I remember waiting at work nervously for the package to arrive on my desk, just in case it didn't turn up and I missed out on that kind of, the day one buzz. I played it pretty much religiously till around this time last year. I put like a solid month into it, and then I just kind of drained it. Like, there was nothing left for me, despite the fact there was loads left for me. I still hadn't done any strikes, any raids at that point. I think I hadn't maxed out my character because the way that it was done was just so convoluted and silly that I was just like, I can't give any more time to this. So I completely dropped out. So I think I traded the game in, and then my better half of the blogging side of things kind of convinced me that I needed to buy this again. So I brought it a few weeks ago, and I'm absolutely loving it now. The changes are amazing that are done to it.
Does that mean, Mr. Russell,
yes,
you were all in from the start, or that you came back with the Taken King as well?
Well, I very much similar to Mr. Weir. I bought it, pre-ordered it day one. I did the whole taking screenshots of the Amazon emails saying that it had been dispatched and all that other stuff that cool guys do, and sharing those pictures on Twitter, being like, "Yeah, it's on the way," all that good stuff. It arrived, absolutely loved it, completely hooked in. Again, like Gav, played it for a solid month, hit level 20. Once the light thing kicked in, I just completely lost interest. I just couldn't see the point anymore of playing what felt like complete rehashes of the same missions over and over again to hopefully try and get a bit of loot to drop that would increase me up by one level. And it just completely lost me, and I didn't want it to. I was so excited for it, and I did not want to lose the buzz, but it just completely drained out of me, and I didn't touch it for weeks. And then eventually I sold it. I can't remember what I traded it in for, but it wasn't long before I got rid of it. I mean, if you'd have told me though this time a year ago that in a year you'd not only be playing Destiny again but doing a podcast about it, I'd have called you a lunatic. But here we are. Yeah, I bought it.
I will mention
day one, Legendary Edition, partly due to the Edge write-up that it got with the Taken King cover. I mean, that they were absolutely gushed over it. All the changes sounded incredible. And partly because of you, CJ. At one point, you pretty much said to me, "Buy it," and sent me a link. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to buy it. And I did. And here we are.
I will mention that is Mr. Gavin Russell, the other half of the delicious individual segments of the You Died chocolate blood orange.
We are quite delicious.
Or website, as other people might call it.
No, I think my version's better. So I mean, initially they seemed to be quite frightened of being an RPG, and whilst they got that progression up to, was it level 20 odd, the stuff with light afterwards just threw everyone a loop, and I think that's where people just fell away, and like you say, sort of traded it, or people just found more fun with friends, or just enjoyed sort of trotting through the missions time and time again. It's interesting that in the aftermath of that Destiny stories have been amongst the biggest on any website, because you're getting people that are coming in and going like, "Oh, I love Destiny, this happened, me and my mates did this," or you get people that still turn up to go, "Oh my god, another Destiny article," or to say again that they hated Destiny. So it's been win-win for a lot of websites in the meantime, but they've still had like millions of people playing constantly, whereas games that reviewed far better like Titanfall have really been struggling to keep people available for matches and stuff. So
it's a strange one for me, because I absolutely love the gameplay. Like it felt like these were the guys that made Halo, so it felt incredible to play. But yeah, like you just mentioned it, the whole leveling system and everything like that was just completely, almost alienating. So whilst I really enjoyed playing it, I just couldn't stand the actual core of it. And I think it's totally what drove me away.
So Mr. Peter Cleaves, what is out of the Sony Corporation?
It is.
How has thy rollerbladed through the first-person shooting game known as Destiny? How did you come on board? What were your thoughts in the meantime? And your sort of run up to the Taken King, I guess.
So this is an interesting one. So I had not me personally, but we had a meeting with Bungie, and when they were sort of explaining what Destiny was to the company, and I wasn't initially sold on it at all. I gaming confession here. I've never actually been a particularly big fan of the Halo series. They're good games, but I've never been felt drawn to play all of them. I've only ever played the first one and part of the second one. But so I didn't play, say, the alpha, but I did get access to the beta. So I thought, why not? I'll give it a go, and I just fell in love with it. I loved, like Gav mentioned, I loved the gameplay of it. I love I love the detail in the worlds. I know some critics will say there's not enough to it. It's quite an empty world, but I just love looking at just the environments and stuff like that. And then that really sold me on it. And then I was there day one, and I am one of those millions of addicts you've mentioned, where apart from a 3-month break before the Taken King came out, I was playing it pretty much every day. Helped by the fact that there's people at work who played it. We'd play it during lunchtimes together, do a few strikes together.
Oh, cool.
And it was just really good. It's one of those games where we know this, where it's so much better when you have people who are playing with you and you're going through things together, you're helping each other. Like I said, the only brief point I had a break was after the House of Wolves, where I kind of felt like I had done everything, and there was nothing else sort of to achieve as such. So I took a break, and I was quite a good break. It gave me time to go off and play some other games, some more of games I'd missed in the meantime. But I did keep up on all the news about the Taken King, and I knew I'd still be there day one.
To be fair, I saw the numbers on the things you were holding when we used to play together, and you've done everything.
Yeah,
your numbers were large.
that may have been one of the reasons I didn't drop it. So, for example, I know obviously we're going to go into this later, but I made an effort to try and get a group to do the raids and stuff, and we were exploring it, and to me, the raids are still some of my favourite gaming experiences from last year, from any game. So that was just having that hook in to keep playing, to keep exploring, to get the good shit as it is.
So, with regards to the first year of Destiny, and this goes for everyone. I know we've now got extra story and extra complexities, and sort of taking the aspect that we're going to come to later out of proceedings. Do we think that the version of Destiny that was there initially, whilst it was much more empty than what we've got now, was perhaps a really accessible first-person shoot 'em up that wasn't clogged down with story, or people could just come onto it and just jump in and enjoy themselves? And
yeah, that's probably true actually, because whereas it did have the leveling aspects of you can upgrade your guns, you can upgrade your gear, it was not very difficult. It was you've unlocked this, click on this to unlock it. You didn't have to put points into anything like you would do a standard RPG. So it was very, very simple, very accessible, I think.
Yeah, I'm wondering if because a lot of people are saying I've got to sit through cutscenes, or the story for this is bollocks on so many games, and there was a game where things were cut out to the point where people were getting frustrated because they didn't want to read Grimoire Cards, and a lot of what was there seemed a little baffling within the language that was used, I guess. So
I still find it absolutely mad that you had to go to an external website to read the Grimoire Cards. Why, what, whose idea was that, and how do I kick them in the face?
Bizarrely, I've actually started reading.
The most frustrating thing about that is, the most frustrating thing about that is that when you do actually look at them, they're exceptional. All the artwork on them is brilliant, and the descriptions are great. Some of the descriptions are really funny. Some of them just like get really deep into the lore in the space of 3 or 4 sentences. It's really such a shame that they're not in the game, that they're not integrated in a more successful way. I mean, originally I was frustrated about that because it's like it annoyed me that they popped up and I just couldn't click a button and read something. But now, after the last few weeks of actually taking the time out to read them, it's frustrating because someone's put a lot of work into that, and it would really enhance, I think, the experience that you get. And it's such a shame that they've not found a way to put them in there yet. But
imagine Dark Souls, but the descriptions are only in the strategy guide.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was going to be my exact
so much
point,
of the pleasure comes from that, from reading the descriptions on stupid things like a copper coin. It's so enigmatic to read the 3 or 4 lines that have been attributed to that useless item. It adds so much to the richness of the experience, and I just think it's a shame really that people aren't seeing a lot of effort there. It's just kind of lost. It's a shame.
Well, strangely, I only started reading them.
Totally do as well.
I only started reading them because things have cropped up in cutscenes and in dialogue and been mentioned by people, and I've just thought, well, what's that? And then I've looked it up, and I've been reading like loads and loads of stuff about it, and there was never really the reason to do that before, because it was just go and shoot some stuff, go and retrieve this, whereas now there's actually something there.
Yeah, I think Death Note from the Dark Insight podcast mentioned that there's a YouTuber that's basically going through the Grimoire cards and is talking sort of purely about the Grimoire cards, which piques my interest. And I know folks like Terramantis has done some fantastic lore videos, not just the stuff that's behind the scenes in the Grimoire cards, but actually going into the artwork and the influences and the natural phenomenon in many places that have inspired. And I don't know, maybe that's there to be discovered, to be rooted for, but it doesn't sound like they've quite nailed the accessibility to it, I guess.
I'll tell you what,
people are having to try a bit too hard, I guess.
I'll tell you what I'd buy if they made like a pack of cards that were the pictures and the description on the back. I'd give you a tenner for that.
Yeah, I'd buy that.
Yeah, because the artwork's all lovely, and like just read them. I mean, I like cards anyway. I play a lot of board games. I have cards. What's one more pile of cards? We've got what, about 400 Eye of Judgment cards for the PS3. I will buy your cards if you make them, Destiny.
Mr. Patrick Smith of the Twin Humanities podcast.
Hi, thanks for the intro at 17 minutes.
Because you're worth it. When last we spoke, we were on the very cusp of the Taken King. How's it frisked you, sir, with gloves made of sandpaper or feathers?
How's it frisked me? It's frisked me excellently. It's frisked me in a special place, reserved only for the place where numbers get bigger.
I've been frisked in a special place. Carry on.
So I like... Okay, so my biggest frustration with Original Destiny, and the reason why I kind of died off around level 26, 27-ish, was a frustration with not getting better gear, like the Gavs were saying earlier. I'm going to pluralise you, I don't care. So I kind of peaked out, and I just couldn't do the missions to get the better gear. I wasn't getting the drops that I needed to get the gear, do the thing I needed to do to get the drops. I was kind of plateauing a bit, and I just couldn't progress. So whatever I was doing strikes, I was doing missions, but I wasn't getting anything that would vastly improve what I had. I couldn't do the harder missions to get the strange coins because all I had were crappy blue guns, and I couldn't survive long enough to complete them. Quite frustrating. That's why I kind of fell away from it. And I found since House of Wolves, when we jump back in, actually getting gear every time you get a piece of equipment now in Taken King. Since we've been playing it, every time I get a bit of gear, it's better. Like, I'm getting something that's a little bit better than what I had before. It's not you've got to level 40, you're done. Like, you're not going to find anything better now. Like, the gear progresses and progresses and progresses, and I've been going up by maybe 10 light every night, 5 light, 10 light here or there. But every little thing you do gives you the chance to make something better. And the fact that you can now mix together, like you can infuse a gun you like with a gun you don't like to make the gun you like better. Fucking brilliance.
Yeah, that's a great addition.
Because I'm not using your fusion rifles. Yeah, I'm not using your fusion rifles. Stop giving me fusion rifles. I'm not going to use them. But now I can use them for a good purpose rather than just breaking them immediately.
I think there's that element of, rather than it being like, oh fuck, I've got a fusion rifle, it's like, oh, I've got a fusion rifle and it's more powerful than the gun that I'm using. Everything is going to be great.
Yes.
I will
I'm
warn
gonna
you
eat
that
your
there is
fusion
still
rifle.
Go on, Peter.
I will warn you that there is still a plateau, because I'm like
Okay.
295 now, and I've been around that level for quite a long time now. Because it's gotten to the point where you guys saying, "Oh, you keep finding stuff that's slightly better." All the stuff I'm finding now is worse, and I'm really struggling to get any higher. And I think unfortunately, similar to old Destiny, it will be the raid that will solve that problem. You'll be getting gear from the raid. But don't get me wrong, the Taken King does improve an awful lot on the base Destiny game.
That was the
And
exact
things
same,
like that.
the exact same issue that I had. I just got to a point and I couldn't get any further because it's like Paddy was saying. Like you get the crappy gear, and then you get more crappy gear because you can only do crappy missions, and it's like a circle, and you just can't get out of it. But at the moment, I've got stuck at like level 210. I can't get any higher than that, so I'm struggling now.
Oh, it gets better. Go live in the Strike playlist for a while. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Just spend half an hour there, you will be fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's
I was
pointed-
really
pointed out,
surprised
yes,
the other night
with
when
the
I just did a-
amplified thing. That aspect of things getting amplified, the more of them that you do, that took me aback a little bit.
Yeah, what were you saying there, Gav?
I was just saying about how it ties into a bit what you said a bit ago about how the Taken King update seems to have made sure that your loot drops scale no matter where you are and what you're doing now. Because I did, what was that? I don't know. We did that strike, Gav, on, was it Venus? And I only did it so that I could go and get the chest. And then I got the chest and I said to you, oh, should we just complete the strike anyway? And you were like, yeah, fuck it. So we did it, and it was a really low level one, and it dropped that squid cape.
The swing
Yeah,
hit.
the
was
boss
like-
just absolutely exploded into like engrams, just like
It just
littered everywhere.
pissed engrams.
Yeah.
It was like, oh fuck, and then engrams just showered from his corpse.
Isn't that a
It
song
was
by the Weather
incredible.
Girls?
Yes, it is. I pissed
pissing
engrams. Yeah,
Temperatures
See a doctor about
rising.
But yeah,
but
it definitely
that
seems to be
squid
solved
cape was
now
like
for us.
30-40 points, more defense than what I was currently holding. And like I say, it was just one of the vanilla missions that we only did to grab the little golden chest thing. So yeah,
it's a
they've done
strike within,
something,
like, 3 or
and
4
it
times
really,
before.
really works.
I did a similar sort of level mission, and I also have a squid cape as well. Mine is slightly different. Mine is squid pro quo.
No, there's more squid puns than just on that
More
one
squid
cape I
puns.
got.
That one is brilliant. So jealous of you
Squid
guys, your
pro quo.
capes.
I am.
All
too,
I get is
yeah.
like an armband. It's just
Yeah, we get
hot
fucking
rubbish.
swimming armbands. It's rubbish.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I don't know. I've got my
future.
Future War Cult Daft Punk armband, which I really like.
Disco
Although,
band.
yeah, I haven't got squid capes, but I have got a snake top now, which I was quite disappointed because I infused my Future War Cult jumper and coat into this thing just by doing the triangle look at it. Oh, that looks nice, without realising it had MC Hammer pants, and I was gutted.
Yeah, CJ doesn't do do armour. It's jumpers and vests and jackets and cardigans.
It's
And
yeah, it's hats, jumpers, marigolds, and wellies.
I can't.
Oh,
on the wall,
and
I can't
rather than
stand the
engrams,
tattered
it's
ones.
tutti frutti.
or tasties.
Yeah.
Do your
Very,
MC
very
Hammer
Sunday
pants float
tea
in the
time,
wind?
Guardian.
What was that? Sorry.
Do your MC
Very
Hammer
Sunday
pants
tea
float
time,
in the wind?
Guardian.
Gav, we're talking over each other. This is so
We are.
professional.
This is the story of my life. You go. Your turn. You shine.
Okay, cool.
Go for it.
Right. Do your MC Hammer pants float in the wind? That's the important part. Do they,
They-
flap
they-
around
they-
as
they
you
just-
leap in the sky?
They're a bit parachute like, and I just hate them. I don't work out like this. I don't do my buns of steel exercise. Just have them covered in floaty trousers. So yeah,
Real talk for a minute. Hunters get the best class item by far.
Definitely.
Let's not mess about. Like cape, because capes are
That
rad,
hologram cape is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
right?
oh, I'd seen
Not
that.
seen
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's really cool.
None of us are Titans, are we?
I don't know.
No,
Which is
No.
proof that they're shit. But anyway, moving on.
So humanity's consensus. I like that.
So yeah, with the Taken King, for me, my copy didn't turn up, and I had to wait a further 2 weeks to get a refund. By the Saturday
I
after
remember this, yeah.
launch day, I gave in and just bought the new content and PSN. At which point I was a bit down, to be honest. I'd had a few days off on release date to sort of receive and play the game. Then when I returned to work, I was on kind of chocker hours. Everyone was already having fun with it, and I was out of the loop. But by that Saturday, though, bloody hell. In an instant, I was lost in new characterizations, sweeping storyline, tons of goodies, new stuff. I was giddy. Seriously, instant turnaround. I think Taken King's magnificent. There's loads to do, so many cool touches. Everything's just refined, and it's a joy to play. I mean, like yesterday, my first thought was, arms day. I bounced to the tower, picked up new guns to test, got a sniper rifle and scout rifle, picked up bounties which I cleared, then I fell into a rabbit hole of go Cosmodrome, do missions, then eventually get offered 3 prime targets to take down. Now do it on the moon, now Venus, now Mars, and then Dreadnought, and I was splegging out on the couch in my PJs. I ended up clearing the Earth portion of it, by which time it was 1 PM. I'd been up since like 8. Ace. I mean, I usually do like the moping solo stuff while listening to podcasts, which is always a huge part of Destiny for me, but I found myself so engrossed I forgot to put one on. That later I went out to sort a few bits for the show, and then at night I returned to the Cosmodrome's quest. Andrew from Spilt Milk jumped on and chatted while we did a few missions. Then Pad and I hit the Strike playlist. So much Destas, and I just, I don't know. I'm really, really smitten with it, and there seems to be always loads of stuff to do. And rather than in the original, which admittedly I loved, once you'd done some stuff, there seemed to be kind of an echoing chasm of, well, I need to just make my own fun now. I'll go and do something else. But there just seems to be loads of stuff to do, and I love the fact that it's taking the piss out of itself.
Yeah, so like I mentioned. Yeah, exactly. Like I mentioned before, they got to a point in Old Destiny where I definitely felt like I had done everything. And then on paper, in the Taken King, I finished the story mission. So people will be like, oh, then you've done everything. But I've not. I've got so many avenues left to explore, so many quests still to do. With Bungie coming out with like secret missions inside of other missions now, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that stuff's fascinating.
Well, strangely, I've been watching my boyfriend play it over the past few days because I've not really had the time to jump on. And he's been doing the post-Taken King missions, so the ones after the main story. And I mentioned to my friend yesterday that glowing, sparky thing that like floats about and disappears and stuff. What is that? Like they didn't cover that at all in the story. And I've been watching my boyfriend cover these missions where this sparky thing is still in it, and you're trying to find out what that is after the main story. I think that's really cool. Like they're spreading it out as far as they can, and it feels like so much more effort has been put into keeping you involved and keeping you interested than there was the first time around.
Yeah, I mean, there was the stuff on that Strike mission where somebody went a completely different way. You've done this, Peter, haven't you? What's the crack with it?
So there's a daily heroic mission where if you follow the instructions of how the mission normally plays out, you would just go out the exit for its own way. Somehow someone felt like exploring and just ran off in a different direction, and they ended up on the Kel ship, which is like a key location in the House of Wolves. Mm-hmm. And then it just turns out a completely new mission started, where they were you get tasked to clear the ship of all taken within 10 minutes, and it's a beast of a mission. It requires really good coordination with your team. You're under constant pressure just to keep moving and shooting and not dying. And then if you manage to complete it in time, which isn't easy, I think it took me 4 or 5 attempts. You get rewarded with a exotic sniper rifle, which is the Taken King version of the Black Hammer, which was a Crota raid weapon. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, when it was announced that first of all you could go your own way, like you could go a different way than the one you were told to go, and that you got this like fantastic reward for it. It was we all just went nuts for that.
I like it when they went to Bungie and just went, is this a glitch? And they were like, nope. And they were like, is there more of this? And they were like, yep. And that, I mean, I love it in games where you wander off the beaten track and you find something anyway, even if it's just like a weapon lying around or extra ammo and stuff like that. But if they've taken time out to piece these things together, it just shows this really refined sort of scalpel on what Destiny should be, and not settling for it just being one thing, but they're adding all these little sort of trinkets and baubles. Wonderful gaming tinsel.
I just wish people would find this stuff before I do it. Because that happened the other day. There was a secret mission propped up in the Daily Heroic about Praedith, I think. And I found out about that 4 minutes after I'd finished the mission. It's like, come on, every damn time. But like the fact they're hiding so much stuff in the missions, like you're gonna get like every mission I do now, I'm looking around behind me, and checking left and right, and making sure all the passages are open and seeing what's open and what's closed, because there might be something cool.
Did you actually see what the Praedith mission involved? Like,
you have to get more ghosts.
Yeah, but like it's inside the Vault of Glass, like the very, very first area. You have to chuck yourself off a ledge and then go in underneath. Like, I don't know how somebody found that, but it's literally like you go through the first little corridor bit where I nearly fell off the edge the other day, and you go down that bit and all the Vex are like stuck, and you just have to like run off the edge and then pull yourself back in, and then you drop down into this big pit, and then there's jumping puzzles, and you end up where the big guy is in the Vault of Glass, in the bit with the oracles. And it's chaos. Like it's so difficult. I don't know how somebody worked it out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll obviously get to our Vault of Glass talk in a bit. But one of the great things about the Vault of Glass is that there was actually quite a lot of it I didn't show you guys for the sake of time, and that was that route that Ellie just mentioned was one of them. That's like an alternate route down to the Templar, which in the raid normally doesn't serve any purpose. There's nothing there, but obviously Bungie have looked at it and said, "Hey, we've got this area. What should we do? I know we'll hide a secret in there for the daily." And then I don't know if you remember, we were doing the jumping section in the Vault of Glass, and I happened to mention, "Oh, there's a portal over there, and people think there's a secret, but we've never worked it out." That's where you end up in the.
Like it was bizarre that we were talking about it, and then that came up in the news.
Yeah. And that is the end of the end of the day. You end up going through that portal and fighting a different boss. Yeah, it's amazing.
So one of the changes that's been announced in the last few days is microtransactions, which is normally a bit of a swear word, but Bungie have announced that Tess Everest is returning to the tower. That her store will now sell items for a new on-game currency, silver. This can be purchased from PSN/Xbox Live. And will apply to buying new emotes, 18 of them, as well as new things like sparrows, presumably ships as well, I guess. Bungie promised that none of this will in any way affect the game, in any other way other than propping up the future development of the live team, and they promised that future DLC will be free before the next update, which I presume will be September next year. What do you make of that, folks?
I think that's awesome.
I'm absolutely fine with it. I mean, normally...
Microtransactions.
Microtransactions.
I
I hear that word and I just switch off instantly. I'm like, okay, that's fine, but it's not for me. I don't get angry about it like a lot of people on the internet seem to get quite passionate about microtransactions. I just seem to think, okay, fine, whatever, it doesn't bother me. But after we saw Pete dance the other night in the tower, with
you
that
were playing into Luke
little
Smith's
dance,
"You will throw money at the screen" line. You've actually
Yes, I am part of the problem. To be fair, I didn't actually throw money at the screen. It was a perk of my work that I actually got a code for that. But yes, new dance.
I want to dance like you, Pete, and I will pay Bungie £1.49, whatever it costs to buy a dance. That's it.
What's the upper limit on that dance? Like, would you pay $2.49?
Yes.
Okay. Would you pay?
Don't be giving Bungie market research here, guys. Come on.
No. Not $5.
Let's be honest here. We all want the sprinkler dance move that we saw earlier.
I want the sprinkler
Everybody
real
wants
bad.
the sprinkler.
I would pay £3.50 for that sprinkler dance. That's my maximum limit. If Bungie are listening.
I think. I mean, for me, I love the game anyway, and I love the game sort of even more with the Taken King. But I would have bought future DLC from them, and frankly, I'll chuck them a few quid for for dancers if it means that they're going to give me free DLC.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what they've said, isn't it? Basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think as well you've got the advantage of, say, if somebody's buying PSN credit and they're going to buy a game and they've got like £4 over, that either sits in you and you credit until you want something else, or you might just go, yeah, I'd like to move like MC Hammer. Fuck it, I'll go for that.
Do you know what I want? I want to buy a goddamn tumbler sparrow. Like, come on. Like,
I hope they make that available, because I still love mine, and I love the fact that it drives you insane, where I find the biggest thing to jump off of and then spin like a nutter, and you just look on as my fiery orange and blue sparrow goes twatting across the landscape.
It's infuriating that it was timed, though. Like, the fact that, because I thanks to events, got on the House of Wolves and Dark Below a bit late, a couple of months after the thing had expired. So I didn't get the tumbler, and it's like, that thing's made out of like things I need, like a stupid bike that I can do flips on and dance on. Like, that's like made out of things that I need to exist. So why
it's got orange
I buy
in it.
one? It's got orange. Why can't I buy one with strange coins or something, or motes of light, or exotic shards? I don't care.
Patrick, calm down. It's okay.
It's not
It's okay.
I want my fucking
It'll be
dancing
all right.
tumbler. I want to spin around through the air like a
This has
magical
been
bear.
6 months of build-up.
6 months. I've been
Let it
watching
out,
this
let it
git
out.
flip over things and laugh.
None of my guys
We're
are
driving
pretty
out and he
excited
goes,
about the fact you can dance on it.
Honestly, and he's going, watch this, woo, through the air, and I just watch him sadly.
So before we sort of siege into our other stuff, there was an interesting bit from Matt Lees the other day, asking people who hated Destiny to give it a rest. Folks complaining about the game now are those who didn't click with the Year 1 original. Do we think the game has evolved enough since vanilla Destiny that these opinions no longer hold weight? Are those people complaining about a whole lot that no longer applies to the game as we know it?
I think Pete is probably the best equipped to answer this, because I don't think any of us are at the point where we've topped out yet.
Well, like, don't get me wrong, I think The Taken King's done a lot to improve Destiny, but there's still some of the early criticism that was levelled at it still does exist. Like, I still think that the base storyline about the Exo Strangers is nonsense. It doesn't seem to go anywhere. And like you said, the deeper lore is kind of hidden, still hidden in these Grimoires, which are still hidden on another website. So most people still aren't going to find out about them. Although they've simplified things, there's still quite a lot of random currencies in the game. Like, Paddy's there going on about strange coins, motes of light, exotic shards. Like, if you're saying this to someone who's not played it, and they're like, "What? I don't understand. What are you talking about?" And then don't even get on about things like Ascendant shards and then Radiant shards. But so I kind of think, like, if you've tried Destiny and you didn't get on with, like, the base going around shooting things, then you're not going to get on with The Taken King. But I do think a lot of people who might have played it and said, yeah, it plays alright, but it's a bit dull. I think they've made it so there's just so much more stuff going on to keep you involved, to keep you sort of coming back. And like I said, like, hiding these little things as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's immune from criticism now, but I do think it's a lot better than what it was.
But the Gavs came back to the game after sort of putting it down in that regard as well, wasn't it? Wasn't it sort of quite a big thing to fork out nearly £40 for something that you hadn't massively clicked with the first time?
It was absolutely for me. Yeah, like I say, I had absolutely no interest in coming back to this game. Like, Gav was constantly saying to me, like, I think you read the Edge article, then turned and tried to turn me at the same time.
So
but
give
yeah,
me
I
an
was just
idea
like,
of this Edge article then.
Well, what it was, I think Edge spent a fair bit of time with Bungie. I think it was 3 days, they said. They sort of just hung out with Bungie, interviewing all the important devs who work very closely on it, and playing the shit out of the game, basically, and just writing about it. And, I mean, Edge absolutely gushed. I mean, they've stayed pretty solid with Destiny all throughout, to be honest. They've always spoke very highly of it. Like, in the you know, like in the sections in Edge where it'll say what we're still playing, Destiny would frequently pop up there, and they'd feature it in, you know, little bits and pieces throughout the magazine throughout the past year, and they've always spoke very highly of it. So I wasn't too surprised that they were sort of really hot for the Taken King, to be honest. But it was the fact that the devs they were interviewing were quite open and honest about the things that they'd probably got wrong, the things that they'd misjudged. One of them was very open about the fact that the light system was a bit of a shit show, and that they could see from the stats that a lot of people dropped off. Not a lot to sort of really affect the game, because obviously people were still playing in the millions, but it's something they noticed, and they clocked that this is an issue and we need to put it right. And so it just went on and addressed. The devs addressed, and Edge also addressed things that didn't work, and the fact that they've now fixed it. And they talked a lot about how the NPCs have now got tons of dialogue, and there's actually a story element there. They're actually utilising the voice actors, and it's all the things that I wanted to experience the first time around that weren't there. And it just sounded like they literally fixed all the bits that I didn't like. So to me, it wasn't a big sort of upheaval to buy it again, because it was like, oh shit, this is the Destiny that I wanted to play last September.
Yeah.
So like I said, that coupled with you going, don't be a dickhead, just buy it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy it. So yeah, it just sounded they've done it. They've finally made it the Destiny that I wanted to play, and they absolutely have. I think, yeah.
I think it's in a unique platform where the base game has been able to like evolve almost. You know, I can't think of any other games where it's like, well, this is a bit shit, and like I can't think of any other game where the devs have like just started again with it like that. Like just torn it down and started sort of almost fresh with it. I can't think of any other game that's been able to do that, or has even done it with any success. You know,
it kind of reminds me of how Assassin's Creed was quite clearly the first Assassin's Creed was quite clearly a good base game, and then it was just like, okay, yeah, this is all right. It's a bit boring. There's not much to do. And then Assassin's Creed 2 came along, and they're like, oh, okay, you've massively built on top of what you had last year. Now this is excellent. It seems pretty much the same as that to me, because like obviously base Destiny was great, it just didn't have much to it, and now they've chucked all of that content into it to make it like a game that you can just keep on playing.
I mean, there are sort of tales online of the way that the original Destiny as it was carved up, that it was going to be almost like a one and done sort of Halo type experience. And you know, Joseph Staten, who I adore for his work on ODST and Reach in particular, left over the fact that the game was carved up in the way that it was, and they brought in somebody to in the March before it was released to write the Grimoire and stuff. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know where the story's going, but I still get this feeling of, oh, let's go and do this exciting thing where there's going to be people to blow up that are going to get you, and oh, here's a few funny lines, and even though you know the story isn't an absolute classic, it's good enough and it's enthralling enough, especially with that art direction, to just draw me in. I am properly obsessing about this game, more so still after kind of what happened a few days ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, CGen agenda. So
someone plans.
woot. So yeah, the one big part of the Destiny experience is the fun with friends. Over the weekend, I'd had a couple of strikes which had absolutely kicked my arse. In particular, one against the Undying Mind at level 41 with myself, Tara, and her partner all under light leveled for it, and it tore us six ways sideways. But I know a few folks who hadn't done the Vault of Glass, and I fancied putting a fire team together to take them in under the tutelage of the esteemed Mr. Cleaves. I've been a few times prior. My first experience of the Vault of Glass had a few folks on the team sort of tutting and sighing when newcomers stuffed up, and that, I don't know, that kind of took the edge off the experience, I guess. I think that the Vault of Glass is brilliant, complex, intimidating, humbling, terrifying, and with people that can support and guide you through it, it's unlike anything else. Even thinking back to much of the stuff I'd done in my 2 tries, there's still aspects I knew I didn't quite get or would stuff up entirely, so I was hiding in you lot. But I knew Peter would be amazing at inspiring, being all Robin Williams and teacher-like to our yawping oafs.
Because let's
So,
be fair, he got us through the Prison of Elders.
He's a beautiful man, and I enjoyed those Prison of Elders ones, especially the higher levels when the bosses were being basts. So yeah, your thoughts and expectations going into the Vault of Glass once it was organised, Ellie?
Well, I've done the beginning before. I did it when I was massively underleveled, and we did the Templar, and it took us far too long. But this time I was really excited because I was so much more prepared for it, and I quite honestly, after the little display that we put on in the tower, I was not expecting us to do very well. But we managed to
naughty children.
Get it together, and it was really, really good. I mean, I'm still exhausted 3 days later. It was just 3 hours of chaos, but that kind of amazing chaos where at the end of it you're completely stunned. It was brilliant. Loved it.
Mr. Gavin Weir, sir, your thoughts and expectations before you went into the Vault of Glass. Had you heard much about it, or was it something you wanted to do, or did the invitation just make you go, "Oh yeah, I'm up for that"?
Yeah, pretty much that. I mean, the only thing I'd really ever heard about it was a guy at work who, he's played Destiny since the start, and I think he only ever plays Destiny. I've never seen him on anything else on his PS4. And he spoke to me about it and just said, this is Destiny. Don't throw the game away until you've tried the Vault of Glass. But I was just like, I'm never going to get 6 friends together to play through this. I'm never going to do it. So, obviously, when you invited me and the opportunity came up, I was just like, yeah, I've got to do this. And just exactly the same that Ellie said, it was amazing. The teamwork, the way it forced you into deciding who was going to do what and watching each other's backs and stuff, it was just fantastic.
Mr. Russell, sir, was there anything that you'd heard about the Vault of Glass beforehand that had you excited? And once the opportunity was here and you were going in, were you nervous? Did you got any thoughts of what you thought might be there before you went in?
Yeah, I mean, I'd heard, because I got a couple of friends that had played Destiny, way past the point where I dropped off. They carried on with it, and they were constantly, I could see them on my friends list just doing the strikes. And so when the Vault of Glass went live, they got leveled enough for it and completed it. And obviously I'd heard them saying and read all the articles that said, this is the real Destiny, this is incredible, and the things that it introduces. But by that point, I was just kind of over it, and I thought, fair enough, it sounds great, but I'm never going to even hit level 26, let alone, like Gav says, organise a party of 6 who are all at the same level and free at the same time. I just thought it's never going to happen. So I kind of just thought that's the way it is. So yeah, once I got back into it the last few weeks, my first thought was, I think I said to you, CJ, pretty early on, I was like, we need to do the raid at some point, because it's always been one of them unfinished business with it, really. So the opportunity, because I knew it, a lot of people were going to be playing it again, I thought this is going to be the time where we can do it. So yeah, and it all came together, and it's changed me. It's changed me for good. Like Ellie says, I've barely recovered, really. We spoke about it every day since, CJ, on Twitter.
Yeah.
You just keep DMing me saying Vault of Glass in capital letters.
Yeah, it's still there. I've seen some people on Twitter beforehand who, to counter those folks that have played up to a certain point with the original and then sort of traded it without playing the Vault of Glass. And there's no way you could really do matchmaking on the Vault of Glass, because that teamwork aspect is so important. But I've seen people counter put downs of Destiny with the Vault of Glass is worth it on its own. And I'd say I can see that anyway from the design, but knowing the experience that we all had as friends and as people that kind of knew each other, I'd say as a huge bonding experience as well when we went in. We really came together on that, and it made it was by far and away the most special trip, not just that I've had in Destiny or the Vault of Glass, but honestly in gaming. That was just a really, really special memory that was made the other night. But
we went in as
definitely.
acquaintances, we came out as Milky Scorpions.
oh God, you and that name, Christ.
It is true, though. It is completely true. I mean, it sounds gushy and it sounds... I don't know, I suppose to someone, even to someone listening to this who likes video games but is sort of, switched off from Destiny, you could easily listen to it and think, what are you guys talking about? Seriously. But honestly, it is exactly what you said, CJ. It's special. It forces you to work together in a way that even, team-based first-person, even stuff in the Crucible, when it's like 6v6, it forces you to work together in a way that nothing else does. I mean, The Last of Us Online, I don't know if anybody played that. That came sort of close because, that is excellent. I mean, it's really tight-knit, it's really visceral, really brutal, and that kind of forces you to work together because if you don't stick together, you can't revive each other and there's no way you're going to win. So that came close. I remember I got really hooked into that because of just that aspect of it where it forces you to work together. But the Vault of Glass just takes it to another level completely. It's really quite something.
It's like it broke us all down. It definitely broke us at one point. There was just that stage where we couldn't do anything and we kept dying, and it was just
just after midnight.
And then all of a sudden
there was at one point where Gav didn't. Oh, sorry.
All of a sudden it just built us back up again as a team, and it was like, yes, we've all done it now, and it felt amazing at the end. So
What was that, Peter?
There was definitely a point when I think it was the last but one try on the boss, just skipping ahead a little bit, where Gav was. We went to Mars. Gav came in and he picked up. Gav Russell came in, picked up the relic, and I don't think he picked up a relic before, so he didn't really know what he was doing.
True,
and I got so pissed off. Like I was like biting my cushion pretty much on the sofa.
I didn't want to pick it up. I was like, I've never touched a relic before, and it's quarter past midnight. Don't make me pick it up.
We were so close to killing the boss, and I was just like, I can't go much longer. I've got to get up for work tomorrow. I'm fucking knackered. And I was just like, cleanse me, Gavin, you cleanse me. What button? The grade one. Press the fucking grade button. And then they never died. I was just like, oh, for fuck's sake, we're never gonna fucking do this. But then it all sorted itself out. But it really took me to a level on a game that I've never been before like that.
I think it pushed us as well.
So Pat, what about yourself?
Oh, me? Well, I never thought I'd ever get in that thing. For the reasons that the Gav Weir said, getting 6 people together at the same time to do something really hard like that, I didn't think it was possible. We have problems getting 2 or 3 of us together for something, let alone 6. It's never going to happen.
Well, we did it instantly.
We managed it, in 2 minutes we sorted it out.
It was so quick. How quickly
so
it came
freaking
together.
stupid now. Oh man, that was easy. But I never thought I'd be of a level where I could get there because, like we say, I topped out around level 26, 27, which is the low bar entry point for the Vault of Glass. And I'm like, well, I don't have very good guns. I'm never going to do that. And since we cracked back in with the Taken King, and we started leveling up faster and faster, it's like, oh, well, actually, I'm quite strong now, aren't I? Well, I think we can do this. Yeah, we can manage this. Being strong doesn't necessarily make it easy. I learned later, but I just never thought we'd get there, let alone complete the damn thing. And I'm astonished we were able to get 6 of us together in one place at one time, just so friggin' easily. Because
Had you got any expectations then before that, Pat?
Before that, I knew it was going to be hard, but I don't tend to watch a lot of Twitch. I watch a fair bit of YouTube, but I try not to watch YouTube of games that I've not played, unless it's it's something I'm playing that I will get to later. I try not to watch stuff like that because you don't want to spoil it, do you? You want to go into these things fresh as you can. So all I knew was that there was some Vex in there, I guess, and it was hard. That's it. And I knew it was long. And the first guys that did it took them 14 hours or something stupid.
Yeah, it was 10 hours 40, I think.
Yeah, honestly, right? If we didn't have you, Pete, honestly, how the hell would we have worked that out?
Yeah, that's one thing about it. I have absolutely no idea how you'd figure out half of the stuff that we did in that. Just some of the the Gorgon Maze thing. I think I would have probably sat there shooting those guys for a week before I figured out that they couldn't see you. And that's one of the simpler things in it.
I'm sure it's on YouTube, but I'd really like to see that footage of the original people that went in trying to figure this stuff out. because it's. I mean, we said before that the original game is very accessible. It's quite arcadey. You can run around, shoot stuff. You've got your little bosses on the end and the strikes and stuff. But to have something that's this complex that doesn't tell you anything about it and just goes right, off you go. I think he's really really quirky, and the two halves don't really sit together in many ways.
Well, even
you've got this,
absolutely.
you've got something that's very accessible, and then just something that's devastatingly ambitious on the other side
even
of
with
it.
Pete guiding us, like I still don't know what we did. Like it was just
You're in shell shock.
yeah, like just that whole ending section. Like I don't know how many people will have played it. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but that ending battle, I still don't have a clue what we were doing. All I know is that there was so much running around, get in the middle, and everybody just shouting, and it was amazing.
We're in Mars, get to the left.
Repeat us now.
I know what Paddy was bloody doing through most of that final battle. Void arrows inside a bubble.
Look, all right. I was told
Name
not
and
to
shame.
fire rockets. All right, I didn't fire a damn rocket. And it looked like it was hitting because there were so many guns pointing at Atheon, and he was getting damaged. I assumed mine was doing it as well. I assumed. I switched to golden gun, and that was
It's
doing
fu-
less damage than my Hawk Moon, which was strange.
Yeah, same.
It's funny how on the run where you stopped using Void Arrow was the one where we actually took him down.
Yeah, it was all me.
Now that there was 6 people shooting at him, it
CJ
helped.
was sniping
Well, that
and
was
stuff
that was the
back
point
then.
where.
Like, to
Yeah, that was the one where
that means
I
I
was-
can take all the credit.
That was the one where I started shooting him
Yeah.
in between kind of the
You
bubble
did, yeah,
moments
yeah.
as well, and that seemed to do a fair bit. So that was kind of
Yeah.
cool. But Peter, your thoughts in general and on taking on the role of Sherpa?
So, there's a whole mixture of emotions. So I hadn't done the Vault Glass for about a good, I don't know, 4 to 6 months. But when you initially contacted me, I jumped at the chance. Like, I know people play Destiny for many different reasons. Like I know people who play Destiny where if you said to them, "Oh, do you want to do the Vault Glass?" they'd be like, "Why? It's pointless. We don't, Like myself at the light level I was, I wouldn't get anything. Well, none of us got anything from it really, because it was just, apart from milky colours. But yeah, because obviously we're over leveled now. The armor you get and the guns you get is outdated. But I still jumped at the chance because I loved the Vault Glass. I've said it before. I still maintain it's my favourite bit in inverted commas of Destiny. Or to be fair, I haven't tried the new raid yet, the King's Fall raid and Taken King, so I don't know how that compares. And I'm sure we'll touch on Crota another day, and I can get to talk about why I think that's such a disappointment. But I loved the Vault of Glass. So I jumped at the chance. I was like, I really look forward to it. And then a bit of background as well, because CJ mentioned, like, I think the first time you went in, CJ, was actually in a group with myself. You were my +1, but I wasn't leading the group, and so the leader of that particular group, who I know was very much more, unfortunately, was very much more, let's get in there, get it done in the quickest time possible, and get the loot and get out. It wasn't about let's have fun with mates, which is what I play for. I play for the experience with mates, of doing stuff, of getting through the tough battles together. So I had no problems with it. I really look forward to it, actually. And plus I knew that, how to put it, you guys wanted to do it because you'd never experienced it before, so I knew that I could take my time and explain to you what was going on. Everyone would listen except for Paddy, who would start jumping off into the abyss for no apparent reason.
There was ammo there, okay?
Okay.
I mean, like,
so yeah, it was great, and to be fair, obviously we were over leveled compared to like what they recommend. But I initially said to CJ at the time, like, as first timers, it's likely it'll take us two evenings. It's just not necessarily because how to put it, like we'd hit a wall and we'd struggle. It's just that to take time to explain some of the complexities of the fights, of the routes, of what we're doing. I just figured it would be like it would take a couple of evenings, but everyone managed it in one evening. So go you.
The second time that I went on was so different to the first, personally, and I may well have just been a bit sensitive on that first run because I didn't know what I was doing and I felt a little bit daft maybe. But on the second time, I went in with Carl Moon and Jay Taylor and Sean Bell, and Owen from Midnight Resistance as well, and I think it might have been I can't think who's the last one on that, but that was a lot easier and a lot nicer, and I really enjoyed it. But having the dichotomy of the of both of them there, I wanted a really exciting experience for everybody that was an adventure. And you touched on a good point that none of us got any particular loot out of it other than a shader, but we all went on this massive adventure, and I would go on that adventure again with you folks just because we made such an amazing memory and we had such a good time. And when we were jumping onto disappearing platforms or throwing ourselves down an abyss or trying to, one of the Gavs and I were talking about this the other day, like literally jumping off the side of a mountain and trying to curve round it. Knots in my stomach. But I can't think of another game that in this sort of fantasy world that felt more real for me, where I felt so invested, and as daft as it might sound, like I'd fall.
Yes,
like I was
absolutely.
actually there.
That
it was
was
mental.
It was you and I that were talking about that, and the bit with the jumping platforms. After you get across and you're actually on that very thin ledge and you're sort of edging across, that sort of thing is like an actual real life nightmare for me, like being pressed up really close to a sheer surface with only a very thin walkway to edge along. And then the bit where you have to jump out away from the edge and then jump back in, it was like making my stomach go in like somersaults as I was sitting on the couch. It was like as if my body was physically doing it, because it was, I don't know, it just pulls you in a way that nothing else does. So it made me like sort of live out a fear that I'd never go anywhere near normally, and I was like, yeah, this is supposed to be fun, right?
Well,
But
we've said about
the
like
fact
this,
that it can do that is incredible.
I've always said about new gen, I don't want it to be a prettier version of old gen. And I know like these games are still on, Destiny's still on 360 and PS3, but I want something that's more sensory. I want something that moves me a little deeper than the generation past. And even things like when Ellie and I first went into the Dreadnought, and we were like, oh my god, this is vast. This is incredible, and all the the little secrets that were happening with the platforms that revealed when you brought up your ghost and stuff. That's what I want, and it sort of centers me to like the 7-year-old me that watched Star Wars for the first time, or it actually feels like it distills me to a very childlike quality of being frightened of falling off like a ledge, or being lost, or being excited, or being enthralled. And we all went on that adventure together, and there was that stuff of people being like daft and bouncy and excited at first, and then Peter sitting us down as he told us about the mission, but then of us going into things and suddenly like going up in pairs and taking on certain points of the map, and this constant it was almost like instinct was firing off words between us. It was like, right, I'm doing this is down, right, there's it's over there, right, there's 3, and like watch out for this, and everyone was just firing them off, and then we all ran ahead and had fun again, and then everything went quiet again. And towards the end, the best bit was when a few of us were being quiet of not quite getting the portal stuff, and not quite and almost not quite knowing what to do towards the end. But there was a moment, I think it was one of the Gavs, where I just heard things absolutely fine-tune click for you, where you went through into a portal and you knew exactly what you were doing, and you went through, and bang, you were out. And there was this kind of like, and it was just really cool. Like, I've done it. I'm getting there. We're all getting there. And as we slowly sort of piece together towards taking down Atheon, it was just magnificent. And it might sound daft to someone that's outside of gaming, or has maybe not been through the Vault of Glass, but God, it was such a memory made.
And the fact we all got so in tune by the end of it, like you could just
Yeah,
fire
that's
off a couple of words and everyone would know what was going on. Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, I think Ellie, this happened with me and you when we were through the portal, and you have to shoot out the glowy things. All right, that was yours, right? Next one's mine.
Yeah,
this
and it
one's
was
mine.
like,
This
I'll
one's
take
mine.
this one,
Like
you
just
take
calling
that
it out.
one, and it was just done, and it got to the point where
Because all our guns are
you
cool.
could like swagger out of the portal afterwards, like, yeah, we got that kind of thing. It was just,
So we get 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6. We're done. Let's go. Fucking move. If we finish.
Well, at the start of it, there was kind of like, right, well, somebody's going to have to go into a portal, and then there was this moment, this silence. Then it's like, right, I'll go into the portal. But towards the end, it was like, I'm already on my way in.
Yeah.
It was just like, it became like instinct, and
Yeah, Ellie was
I
a
don't
bit
know,
of a
I-
hero at doing that.
I was just
Just like running,
certainly
like you know
was.
when we would kind of send in an extra person in to help with the oracles. It was always Ellie. She always just legged it straight forward. Like, I'm in, don't
I
worry.
could get there fast, and then I could get through fast, and I'd just take out like the last two, because it was always the last two oracles that people struggled with, because the sort of like 5 would appear at once, and there was always a couple left at the end that were really hard to get, and I just thought, I'm just gonna run through here. But there was so many times where people were already out before I could get through. Like, it was just crazy how fast we were at the end.
Didn't we strand a Gav in the past?
I was left on Mars. I think it was you, Pete, who basically said, "Fuck him, we've not got time."
not in
And
so
I
many
was
words. But
He's a
Gavin
I was
patient-
just
leader,
left
yeah,
as a
just
floating revive orb
He's a
on
patient
Mars.
teacher, but if you ain't back through time, he ain't waiting.
They
Yeah, 'cause
weren't
we
they
came
weren't
back
his
through,
words,
didn't we?
listeners.
Mars
It was
the
very
next
it was
one.
very gracious
We came
about
back through,
it.
and it was like, oh, hey guys.
It was, yeah, and I was like,
Just found you.
my friends are back. It was very serene because I was left there, and obviously you got through the portal, so it meant you had the bubble and you could do all the shooting and the shouting. So you were all like, "Fucking shoot him!" And I was just in this silent Mars, just floating there as a little blue orb.
does
I was
this
like,
make
is
you Matt
really
Damon?
peaceful. Yes, I was the Martian.
So what would you say was your favourite moment in the Vault of Glass, Ellie?
Definitely when Gav was just blind at the end. And everybody
You're
was
gonna go,
like,
definitely when we stranded Gavin Mars in the past.
No, when no one cleansed Gav, and he was just stood there like aiming vaguely in some direction,
Fair.
and then we all went for the loot.
It was my own stupid fault because I got really excited when we came out because I knew this was the last time. I was like, we're gonna fucking do it this time, and I got really excited and I got turned around, went back through the portal, ended back in Venus. I was like, oh shit, wrong place. Came back out. Obviously, I'm then like poisoned or corrupted, whichever one it was. You guys have run up. I was like, I really need cleansing, guys. And yeah, I was
funny.
blind. But then for the final takedown of the boss, I was
Yeah,
completely
even
blind.
collecting the
It
loot,
was-
Gav was just stood there like, can somebody help, please? It's amazing.
So other Gav, what was your favourite moment?
Russell or me?
Whoever didn't speak then.
Oh yeah, that's Russell.
Well, my favourite memory. I mean, the moment that we obviously spoke about the cliff face and all that, and how fucking terrifying that was. So that's a pretty big memory. But it was just a simple bit of whenever we get out the portal, when we'd get it right, and we'd all pile into the middle, and we'd stand under that little bubble, and we'd be shooting with everything we got. And Pete would normally be counting down as well, so he'd be going 5, 4, 3. So we'd all know when to stop, and they'd be like, "Get out of the way!" So every time that just completely went in sync, out of the portal into the middle, and we'd all be like standing huddled together in this little bubble shooting. Yeah, it was just it was pretty euphoric, that moment. It was very, very good.
You did that countdown then, and my head went back to the memory, and it was like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the back of my head it automatically went.
Yeah.
Sort of leapt backwards from the bubble and sort of tried to jump to the side, and then it's like, oh, I've landed. Well, we're on Mars.
You got out your computer shaders then, didn't you?
I did. I lifted up. You lift me up. So yeah. Other Gav, what was your favourite moment?
I think for me was the moment I kind of first felt it all come together. Is when you're taking down the Templar and the Oracles, like the first kind of sub-boss section. It was kind of like we would all split into our two teams. The Oracles would appear, and you would just be like, back left, and then everyone who was on the left would know to turn around and start firing at that Oracle. And there was a moment where it all came into sync, and we just absolutely nailed it. Like there was never any doubt that anyone was going to die, that we weren't going to get the Oracle. Obviously, it was the time that we did it, and yeah, that felt amazing. That was the first time where it kind of felt like, wow, we're working as like a proper team. This is awesome.
Because we got those moments amongst that where we were trying to figure it out, and then all of a sudden it was like, I'm running out of bullets. We've got snipers.
Yeah. And it was
So,
just like,
Mr.
I think,
Mr. Ginger Mc... Yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, just to show off slightly, I think I did get the final hit on the boss as well. That bit.
We'll play it.
With a big Nova Bomb blast. You know how it is. Just launched that at its face. So I'm not taking all the claim for the victory, but
Just
I
that
did
final
kill him.
slice.
It's just one kill, but it's an important one.
yeah, it's a big one. Big dude.
What
that
about
guy.
you, Fab? Pad?
Okay, is that my name?
I tripped over my own lip then.
There was quite a lot of moments that I remember because I was thinking about it today at work and just remembering like bit to bit to bit the way we just used to sit down and have story time before we went in to do a thing. But I think the funnest bit I remember was the sort of the site race that occurred when the floating platform bit happened to see who would be the last one across.
Who was it?
I think it was Baby Gav.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was
was,
weird.
yeah, because I was trying to make a bottle up for my child at the same time, so I was kind of dashing
Yeah.
from
And that's-
from the living room to the kitchen in between deaths.
And that's the only reason that I beat you, because I was having no joy. I think the one time I got across, I'm pretty sure either Pete or Ellie was stood on the ledge, and I bounced off them and fell back into the hole.
You literally like
Oh,
landed
and it's
on
like,
my
you...
head.
Yeah, but then that led to a lovely point very shortly afterwards when we were stood there waiting for Gav Weir to make his way round, and you were looking up, and I was sneaking up and trying to push you off the ledge without you noticing.
Really? Oh wait, yeah, we were all
for
waiting.
like for like 2 minutes I was sneaking up and just pushing you and then backing off, and you turn around and look at me and look back again and then sneak back in and just keep edging me slightly.
I just remember like looking at that stuff and literally looking at someone throwing themselves off the side of a mountain whilst I was on a different mountain with barely enough room for my own feet.
Basically all the bits where people jumped into the nothingness of space, those were the favourite bits, particularly the part where I jumped out of that ammo when there was nothing there. And everyone was like, the fighting's over, why are you dead? No reason.
Yeah,
What about yourself, Peter?
Sorry.
No, sorry.
So the two that spring to mind were, I mentioned it briefly before, but just so we'd cleared the confluxes, we'd cleared the oracles, and the final stage of the Templar fight was about to start. So I'd briefly explained to you everyone what was going to happen. I was going to pick up the relic, run around, blah blah, shoot the Templar shield off. We're all going to shoot the Templar, etc. etc. Everyone sort of said, "Yep, fine, okay." I just about went, "Okay, is everyone ready?" And then suddenly the message popped up: Paddy Stardust has died. Paddy, what?
That's
There's
my
no
life.
enemies. There's no enemies in this area, Paddy. What's going on? This doesn't bode well. No. There was ammo over there. Okay. So everyone just has to sit around and wait for Paddy to revive. It's okay.
In my defence, I needed ammo. I wasn't going to be much use. I didn't have any bullets, was I?
You're never going to live this ammo jump down, are you?
Never.
Ever.
Never.
And then the second bit was, obviously, Atheon was a good moment, but it was actually, after that, we're all high on euphoria, heading back to the tower, milky white Chatterwhites. And then is it Landlord Jones in his dark black?
Landlord
It was
Jones.
just incredible. It was just like, oh my god, it's Landlord Jones. Let's all have a sit down, explain to him what we've been up to. That was just that moment. It was just a nice team moment. But it was just like,
And then
we're
when
all
we
here,
photobombed the guys that were in black, and then they photobombed us. I mean, sort of in that aftermath, I genuinely didn't sleep for a good hour and a bit. My heart was just gunning, and I think for many of us, we were still sort of speaking on Twitter, going like, "What the, what?
How do I sleep now?"
So, I mean, we fought for 3 hours. It was way past midnight when Atheon finally exploded, and I swear I let out a scream with headphones on, befitting the popular cinematic movie known as 300. Like, "Rah!" It was awesome. But so what did you all make of not just the Vault of Glass in itself, but of the team journey through it?
I think we have a raid team.
I go
for
with
life.
Ellie to start with again.
Yeah, I think we have a raid team
Oh, it
for
was
life now.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think once you've done that, I think, like you say, you go in as acquaintances, you come out as a goddamn team.
Yeah, it was like Saving Private Ryan in there. It was incredible.
Tattoos spontaneously appear on our shoulders. Like, oh, check it out, we're a team now.
Just not once of Milky Scorpions. Seriously, where did you get that name?
Right, okay, so because we were doing the raid, Laura, so I work for a charity shop, as does my wife Laura, and she brought home a big bag of vintage jewellery to sort through. And one of the things she found was a couple of bolo ties. And one of them was like a scorpion. It was like a white bolo tie with a scorpion like inside the thing. So I thought, that's kind of cool. I'm going to put that on, wear it as a good luck charm. And then then Laura mentioned, you've got a cowboy shirt. I was like, oh yeah, I do want to wear that as well. So I went and put my cowboy shirt on as well. And then my cowboy hat. So I dressed up like a cowboy for the raid. Because why not? It's an hour, isn't it?
There are no words.
Right. So, and the pendant I was having on it had a scorpion in it, and as we were moving on forwards, we got the door open, and we said, right, let's meet up, and let's form up scorpions, and it felt right, the scorpions, and then obviously we got our Chatterwhite shader out at the end, so we were Milky Scorpions. As team names go, it's not that bad.
It's a little bit unsettling. I don't know.
Could be worse.
I'd have used the word a little bit wank, but it is what it is.
Or scorpion milk. What's worse?
I don't even know what to say.
Plus, I really enjoy this name because it breaks your brain, and that's why I enjoy it, because you've not been able to form words whenever I've used it against you.
Yeah, but whenever you mention cowboy hat and cowboy shirt, I always think of the way that you dress in like a Saints Row, which would usually be like crotchless chaps.
Yeah, cowboy hat, cowboy shirt, but no trousers.
PVC underpants. whatever people have said about Quiet in Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain. Like you would willingly dress like that yourself in the game if it would let you.
I've been known to. Saints Row is not a good game for me.
So, Mr. Weir, what did you make of the Vault of Glass?
Just to kind of echo almost what Sori really said, it was the kind of the mess that we were in the tower at the start, where we couldn't even pose for a photo properly, with certain people looking the wrong way. I think it was Paddy on the original, was it?
Yeah, I've got pictorial evidence of that one.
I will have you know, I was the only person looking the correct way.
Oh, is that right?
Wow.
Is it me the problem? Have you got a photo from the other way round? Or are you just thinking like, fucking.
Look at these losers.
Yeah, we're all staring up at the Traveller. You're just staring at a wall. From that, going through, having a little mess around, becoming this tight, cohesive unit, having a little mess around. It was just a great little journey.
Has it been on your mind, sort of in the aftermath?
Absolutely. Yeah, me and Gavin. I think I texted him early today and was just like, I can't stop thinking about it. And I want to go back in there and do it again.
But do you worry that we're becoming those insufferable dicks who are like, you haven't played Destiny till you've done the vault?
Yeah, definitely.
We are those dicks now.
I can absolutely see why people say it. It is every little mechanic the game has all comes together in the vault in its own little ways. Like just the way that it makes you force you to work as a team, the way that it throws challenges at you. It is the game in like a small little microcosm of incredibly tough challenges. So yeah, I'm now one of those dicks that won't shut up about it.
Well, it is interesting in that regard that the Vault of Glass was Luke Smith's baby in the original Destiny, and the Taken King in its entirety is Luke Smith's baby. So the guy who did the Vault of Glass is responsible for a large portion of the design of the Taken King. That to me correlates completely.
I like this guy.
Yeah, I mean, even after that, all the Eurogamer interview that was had lots of people saying like, right, I'm not playing Destiny anymore, and even Tom Phillips said, it wasn't a nasty chat that we had. It was just, there was banter there, and I think Luke Smith said afterwards that I really shouldn't speak on business matters anymore because it just gets me in trouble. But yeah, I'm interested to see not only where they go with the next big update, but also if he's got this position of prominence with regards to design at Bungie now, as to what happens with the free DLC and the stuff that keeps keeps pepping along in the meantime.
So, I've already mentioned before about Crota's End, like, and I know I'm a bit down on it, but that the next raid is still a fantastic experience. But scarily, it makes me appreciate the Vault of Glass even more. And that's another story for another time about why that is. But I'm actually, I'm really looking forward to actually going through Crota's End with you guys again.
Yeah. I'm double up for that.
Plus, it'll be really nice to actually get context for the Taken King, because in the entire intro it's like, oh, he's coming, you killed his son, and I was like, I didn't.
Cheers up. Not yet.
For me, mate. You want that guy over there? You want that guy with the shiny helmet? He was him.
So, Gav Russell, what was your take on Vault of Glass as a whole?
Well, the fact that since, I mean, obviously we've all said, and I've said that since completing it, not been able to stop thinking about it. But I mean, I've been having these strange pangs of nostalgia for it, even as early as straight away the next morning, like waking up, and I'd just get these weird little stomach flips where I'd be like, oh Christ, I really wish I was doing that right now, because it was just incredible. So, and I can't remember really, certainly not recent memory of any game where I've finished it and it's left me feeling kind of like a little bit empty, like a little bit, just like I say, nostalgic for it, almost straight away, just sad that I'm not in that moment right there. But the Vault of Glass, I mean, Destiny as a whole certainly hasn't done it. As much as I'm fully converted again, it's certainly not made me feel like that. But the Vault of Glass certainly did. And I think, and I said this to someone on Twitter today who said to me that, oh, they still haven't done the raid. And I said that the reason I'm so completely in love with the Vault of Glass is 50% down to what Bungie created in terms of the environment and the challenges and all that, but also what it forces you to create between 5 other people. I mean, now I've known Gav Weir for nearly 15 years now in real life, so we're friends in real life for a long time. I mean, I've known you and Paddy just via the internet through your podcasts and our website and things like that, and Pete and Ellie, I didn't even know who you two were until the minute where CJ said, right, let's put this team together. But that all just feels completely knit together now in like this strange little group of 6 people who've become internet friends over a computer game that, I mean, like I said, a year ago, if you'd have said I was playing Destiny, I would have been surprised, let alone sitting here talking about it on a podcast. The Vault of Glass did that. And that, that in itself is incredible.
Fucking hate
it's
these
strange you
action
should
films.
mention
CJ,
like
putting together a team.
Like the Expendables.
Yeah, that makes me Hannibal from the A-Team. Yeah. But it's with regards to the nostalgia. I mean, I know exactly what you mean, because that's why I keep just putting Vault of Glass on Twitter and getting people annoyed because I keep doing it. But we spent 3 hours doing the Vault of Glass. And yet, when I think about that night, I can remember everything about it. It's not as if they were like, oh, this was a big moment and this was a big moment. If I put my mind to it, I can trace us in the tower, us going in, us going past the Gorgons, us doing the the doom, 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 and sort of the mountains.
God, yeah.
The mountain stuff, the Athean stuff, the celebrations afterwards, the Chatterite stuff, all of it is completely utterly memorable. And considering how stressful it was in many ways, and how all of it just seems really memorable, and it's one of the best times I've ever had in gaming. It was just so wonderful. So, Paddy, what did you make of the Vault of Glass? Now you've been through it and you had all that.
Well, like we said, you haven't played it until you've played it. And once you've played it, you know in a way that you can't know before you play it. Like, people, if you're listening and you haven't played it, we can explain it all, but you're not going to know it until you do it. And the way that it, because I was one of those people that was like, well, why couldn't you do it with a matchmaking? That would work. Surely you could matchmake that. You can't matchmake it.
Nah,
you need a team. You need to be talking. And I think over the course of those 3 hours, we got in sync. We became a team. You get your little call signs. Mars on the left. We would shout little segments that would tell everyone exactly what was going on, exactly what was doing. I've got the relic. I've got this. I've got that. just like the sheer combination of just like this massive spectacle of this glassy nightmare pyramid thing in the front and shit flying in from all sides, but the team coming together, so well. Like I'd like to say, I've not had that in a game before. Like even when you play shooters online with people, you're shooting just other random people, and you might not do it. But this is 6 of you against the best it's got, and the fact you can come out at the other end, with barely any loot, but still grinning like an absolute goon from just the experience. Like we're not doing the Vault of Glass to get a shiny new trinket out of it. We're doing it because it's fun. Like, and I want to go back and I want to do the freaking thing again. I want to go do it right now. Like we're all here, so shall we just go do it again?
You know what? It's late. We've got work tomorrow, but I'd be up for it.
To be honest, if I didn't need to get up for work in 5 hours, I'd be like, okay, let's do it.
It's cool that whenever somebody mentions a strong point or something that's resonant for them, it can often kick through a different memory to add to that. I just had thoughts of saying, "Oh, we're through the portal," in that last bit, and you just get this almost like butterflies feeling in the stomach of like they made it back. It's just such an ace feeling to see people.
It was to see them piling out of that portal. Yeah, it was. It always. I loved it when they just kind of came out. Oh, you're out already. Okay, cool. Let's go shoot the guy. Like it just sometimes it was done so fast. It was just like it just felt great.
So Peter, I know you've got thoughts on the Vault of Glass anyway, but you're saying it was this was one of the more memorable sort of spins that you've had through it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, we've already mentioned that it must have been incredible for the people who first didn't know what they were doing. So that I had that experience, obviously not that extreme, but for the first time I went in and going through and finding out, actually exploring where you were going, what you had to do. I loved that side of it. And then, unfortunately, I think Ellie mentioned this at the time we were doing it. It then became a bit of a grind. It was like, I really need the gloves from Atheon. I really need the helmet from Atheon. Otherwise, I can't get any higher. All right, let's go do Atheon. Yeah, nope, didn't get the gloves. Bollocks. And there's just that kind of. That's the other side of Destiny, where it's it became the loot grind. It wasn't about the experience. It was just trying to get through it. But this time brought it all back for me. It was because like I said, I don't need the loot. It's meaningless now. It's about getting it through. And I love it wouldn't have been the same if I was doing it with a bunch of people who've done it before. It's listening to your guys' reactions. It's me trying to explain the bloody portals and Atheon, which on paper sound completely nuts. And like I said, there's actually parts of the vault I didn't even show you guys. There's about 3 hidden chests I didn't show you guys. There's all the mechanics went on for the hard version of the raid as well. There's still, even though we've done it, there's actually still a lot more to it I could show.
That's
which is scary when you think about it.
I mean, like you say, the fact trying to explain all of the mechanics to us, and the fact that it sounded like absolute nonsense at the time, and you go and it's like, oh, I get it. So you shoot the thing, and then we go back in time, and then we pick up that, and then we make each other, we cure each other's blindness, and then jump back out. It made sense after a while. I was trying to explain it to my boss the next day because I was kind of, the night before we did it, I was getting excited. I'm going to do the raid tonight. I'm really excited. Do the raid. 6 of us. Yeah, it's going to be great. And a couple of days later, I went back and chatted to him again. Oh, how did it go? I was like, well. Okay, so there's this bit where you go back in time, but kind of not, and then some of you do, but some of you don't, and there's a relic. And I was trying to explain it, but I couldn't. But I think between the 6 of us, we know how it works. We don't need to explain it to each other.
I loved how Pete was trying to explain it, and then it was midway through him saying, oh yeah, you're going to go back in time and you have to pick up a relic. 3 people were teleported, and it was like, shit, what do we do? It was just utter panic. It was just fantastic.
I'm back in time. What do I do? So, Pete, have you the King's Fall raid? Pete, have you done that yet?
No, not yet.
No, don't.
You want to? Yeah, let's do it.
Let's work it out together.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, boy.
So we do Crota next then, and then we go for King's Fall.
We book ourselves a week off and work out the King's Fall raid.
I was going to say I need a week off work.
Let's just try and not do it the day before it resets this time.
Yes.
Yes.
That added so much to the stress when someone pointed that out. I was just like, don't worry, it saves you progress, doesn't it? No, it resets tomorrow.
Fuck you, dude.
I think it was Ellie that said that, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is,
Midnight, for
I'm dead
fuck's sake.
I'm dead excited for future adventures with you guys, because it was just, again, it was just so resonant, not just at the time, but afterwards. It's been on my mind. It's been the place that I've escaped into when work's been vile, and yeah, I'm looking forward to Crotus Ray, because I haven't done that at all. So I'm going to be in the same situation as you on that front. So
Exciting.
hurrah.
So yeah, no, CJ, I know you said as well that you would. There's some other people you know of who'd like to go through it as well.
Yeah.
Where, don't get me wrong, I'd quite happily do it, but I do think that, like I said, I think all of you now know enough of it. I think the only bit you might struggle would be the Gorgon's maze, because you might not know the route out of it. But yeah, you know, you guys you've passed the initiation. You guys can now Sherpa others.
Thank you, Destiny Senpai.
Yeah, I don't know that. I know that well enough yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going back and doing the harder version with you guys as well. So that'll be groovy.
I need to level up a little bit first.
We're going to
scrape
die.
through just a little bit.
So yeah, it's been a belting natter. I really enjoyed that. So thank you very much, folks, for joining us. It's rather lovely of you.
You're welcome.
Love you too, Paddy. I love you too. So the standard. Where can people find you, Ellie?
I am Ellie Joy Panic on Twitter. Feel free to follow, and I've got a website as well, agirlandhergames.com. It's in the middle of going through some stuff, so bear with it. But yeah, if you could take a look, that would be fantastic.
Emotional stuff.
Some serious
emotional stuff.
It's had a bit of a breakdown and it's struggling. So yeah, but yeah.
You're looking for extra writers as well for it,
Yes, I am. I'm in the process of trying to open it up. So if anyone's interested, get in touch. And yeah, I'll try and sort something out.
Sweet. Mr. Weir and Mr. Russell.
You can find us jointly at You Died Blog, or you can find me personally at Gavawir. And of course, You Died.
You can. Yes, good plug there.
Thanks,
good
man.
plug. You can find me personally at Tight to the Nail, which is a quote from The Wicker Man, which seemed like a great idea about 5 years ago. So come and follow me on Twitter if you want to hear me talk about the Great British Bake Off, Slayer, and Destiny.
What a
The
cross-section.
Triforce, as they know it.
Yeah, exactly.
Peter, where can people find you, you marvellous teacher of Guardians?
So I'm at Tatsun on Twitter, which is TAT_SUN_. So feel free to come on there and tell me how crap the PlayStation Store is, because trust me, we know. And I'm also excuse me, and I'm also one of the hosts of the Lapse Gamer podcast, which is at Lapse Gamer. We've just released our 3rd episode, so yeah, go check it out.
Absolutely. Right. Well, from myself and my beautiful ginger brother.
Hello.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if you are tempted to jump into the Taken King after this natter, or you fancy going into the Vault of Glass, or if it's piqued your interest, if you've enjoyed the chat, all of that stuff. It's getting late, but I love all of my fire team and all of my listeners, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Vault of Glass.
Bye.